Hi there. Um, Oops, wait. There's a little bit of a something's not working right. Well, I hope you're seeing this. I just got a message that one or the channels isn't working right. But anyway, I'm just a tad bit early, just by a couple of minutes. And also just to say it's a holiday. Um, it's Easter, it's Passover, it's Ramadan. So it's a time of the year where so many of us are with family, are celebrating different, really, they're the holy holidays for most religions. And generally, I have celebrated Easter with my family. This year's a little bit different, and I'm going to chat a little bit about that. I was thinking, as I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you today, um, my mind, we've had a very exciting and very community based, thrilling past few weeks. We had our spring event, which started didn't start, the whole thing happened last weekend, though for us it started months ahead of time. And it was just fabulous. If you were there, thank you for being there. If you weren't there and you'd like to receive the replays, stay tuned. We'll have them available in a couple weeks. The editor is working on them. So we've had this really amazing kind of everything happening, lots of interactions. And so I want to step back just a minute. So, as I said, I was preparing to share with you, and I was going to talk about the event and some of the speakers and whatnot. And I realized that there's something much more important for me to share with you, which is that I'm preparing for another round of a visit to more testing and possibly a surgical procedure related to the lymphedema. So let me step back since, as I said, this is many people are with family today, so you might be catching this on the replay. So in November, I flew down to South Carolina for a workshop kind of thing, a mastermind that I'm involved with. And I haven't traveled in quite a while. And someone a few months ago asked me about travel, and I traveled all throughout Europe with lymphedema, with lipedema, and I had to manage it, and I did a lot to make it work. And but it had been pretty much almost since the pandemic that I hadn't traveled, and so to make a long story short, I ended up with two flights down to South Carolina and two flights back to Boston, which essentially is 8 instances of high level bariatric cabin pressure. And so that's eight. That's four takeoffs and four landings, which was enough to throw my system into some kind of very challenging overload. Hi, Debbie. It's good to see you. Oh, I'm glad some people are starting to come on now. So I've talked about it here, and I've talked about it at the conference, and I've talked about it in a couple of different places because I think it's important for those of us who are challenged with lymphatic issues to know about this. So, um, Kelly Bell, who is one of our presenters, has dealt with what's called central lymphatic issues. we know a lot. We don't even know a lot, but we know enough about peripheral, which is the arms and the legs, lymphedema. Many of us with lipedema also have peripheral bilateral lower extremity lymphedema, is what it's called. And I have that, but I have more complications than that. So in November, when I flew and came back, I knew right away when I was in South Carolina something wasn't right. And I contacted Leslin, who was at a conference at Cleveland Clinic, um, the National Lymphedema Network conference. And Kelly was there, Kelly Bell. And the two of them, I called and said, this is happening and this is happening. And I blew up and I'm so swollen and I can't get it to go down. And anyway, they mentioned that the possibility of central lymphatic issues was what was going on. And the more we talked about it, I came home figuring I went to see my MLD therapist and that I would get it under control. And I'm regretfully saying didn't get under control. I've been dealing with it now, November, December, January, February, March, April. Almost, it feels like forever, but it's 5 or 6 months. So, numerous consults with Kelly and Leslin about this and trying to figure out one of the things that happened. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. One of the things that happened is when I got home, within a few hours, I was in the emergency room, and they started CAT scans and ultrasounds, and I couldn't breathe, and it was a little scary to say the least. They admitted me. I was in the hospital for a little while, and they ran more tests. And what it comes down to is with lymphatic issues, they don't really know. Eventually I got sent to the top docs here in Boston around lymphatic issues, and they were not familiar with central lymphatic issues. Turns out, again, bless Leslin and Kelly, that there is a doctor. Let me say that again. There is one doctor, one doctor, and at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. So, needless to say, I started an ongoing conversation trying to see what could happen. And what ended up happening is they were so kind and they were so helpful. And to make a long story short, I'm going down to Pennsylvania in May for what's called an MRL, which is a magnetic resonant lymphangiogram. Now I've had lymphoscintigraphies and I've had something called indocyanine green, which is another lymphatic, all looking at how the lymph system moves or doesn't move and what the issues are. So I got a call from the hospital at the University of Pennsylvania on Friday morning, just as we were starting the event. Just as the conference was about to start, I was in a staff meeting and I looked and I'm like, oh my God, the hospital's calling. So and they gave me a date and explained a little bit about the procedure and what's going on. So, why am I sharing all this with you? For a couple of reasons. We ended up having Kelly and Leslin and one other patient, Catherine Rosenberg, at the event talking about central lymphatic issues. And one of the things that Leslin and I were talking about is that it's much more prevalent than we know because most doctors don't know anything about it. And so different symptoms that show up can be directly related to central lymphatic issues. We are going to put together a webinar, a free webinar for the community sometime soon. So I just hunkered down this weekend. My family contacted me and I said, you know what? I need to have a quiet me weekend. So I did an online meditation retreat where I could just get quiet because these ups and downs that so many of us deal with in terms of our lymphatic issues. Oh, this is great. I'm getting some messages. Hi, Lorna. Hi, Linda. Central lymphatic issues. So Linda says, please define central lymphatic disorder. It's difficult for me to do that because I have it at this point, or I think I have it, and I'm just learning about it. But one of the things come to find out is the lymphatic system plays a major role in digestion. So whenever I eat anything, just even a salad, my belly blows up. There's a lot of excessive fluid in my system that has to do with it not processing the way it should be processing. So more to come as I learn more and consult more with Kelly and Leslin. We'll put something together that's much more understandable than my sort of bits and pieces. But I found myself this weekend just giving myself permission to unwind. And so I had a weekend of meditation. I just finished about 3:30. So there was an online retreat. And so I did that and found myself allowing just the spaciousness of not trying to figure it out. So often with lymphedema and lipedema, we'll spend lots of time trying to figure it out, trying to put the pieces together. So sometimes just a degree of spaciousness can be really, really helpful. And my Odie, this is my Odie. This is like wearing a blanket. This is like wearing the most comfortable blanket. And even though it's spring, it's like, I'm cold enough that this is like wonderfully comfortable for me. And just sharing, you know, um, that whatever this challenge is, I feel like I knew the right people. The fact that Kelly, Bell, and Leslin Keith both knew Dr. Itkin, who's the doctor at the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Max Itkin, 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 Dr. Max Itkin. And that he turned out to be so kind and so smart. Oh my God, he's an expert in a field that hardly anyone knows anything about. So I'll let you know as things go along. I'll be going down to Pennsylvania in May, the weekend of, in fact, maybe I'll do it from the road. I'll be on the road on Sunday, May 20th. 20th. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe 21st. That's it. May 21st. So I'll be on the road. So at that point, I'll just take you on my journey with me, let you know what's happening, shoot a few pictures. and explain a little more about what it is and how it is. In fact, maybe I'll get Kelly to come on maybe next week to talk about it a little bit. So I want to say, wow, what a ride. Yes, indeed it is. It's really an incredible journey. I want to also say, when all this first happened, number one, I thought, oh, it'll go away. It's just a flare up month at most. And then a month came and went and it got worse. And 2 months came and went and I was still struggling. And I'm like, wait, it's not supposed to be this way. And then it's that process every single time. It's the process. Whether it should be this way or it shouldn't is irrelevant because it is the way that it is. And what's next? What's the very next action step? What's the very next micro action that I can take? And that's what having a disease like lymphedema and lipedema is all about. So thank you for joining me. Much love. Have a really wonderful week. And I wish you the very best. See you soon.